Now we're going on to the next film in our little movie review binge, and that's the new Leica film that came out this year, Missing Link. This is pretty much their follow-up to Kubo and the Two Strings, and I was interested in this film because I love Kubo and the Two Strings so much, even though, but here's the problem. The problem is that when I saw the trailers, they sucked. Like, I did not like that trailer, the first trailer that we got to Missing Link. I thought I don't know what it was, but it was just so stupid. And I was a little bit worried about this film, although at the same time, I mean, it is Leica, so they could probably pull off something really good. And thankfully, this was just really bad marketing, because this movie is actually great. This movie's great. Now, what's Missing Link about? Well, basically, this is about this guy named Sir Lionel Frost, who's like an adventurer who hunts cryptids and whatnot, and wants to try to prove of their existence. And he's sent to go find the Sasquatch, or Bigfoot, or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, try to prove his existence. And then when he finally meets this creature, he's actually very well spoken, and very like, he acts human, even though he's he's a Sasquatch. Now, again, this sounds really again, the plot kind of sounds silly, but this movie actually does it really well. This movie is actually really funny. Yeah, the movie is really funny. Like, how I describe it, like, the comedy, it's, I don't know how to describe the comedy in this film. All I will say is that when it was doing the comedy stuff, man, I'm really not well spoken today, am I? I guess not. But it is really funny, and probably the best example of its comedy, it actually kind of goes towards another thing this movie does really well, which was like any kind of scenes involving tension or some sort of an action scene or whatever. Because there's a scene involving a ship that is both intense and hilarious, and you wouldn't think that it would be able to pull that stuff off. Like, you wouldn't think it would be able to pull off such drastically different tones, especially during one scene, but it really does manage to do that. And let's talk about the animation. Kubo and the Two Strings, I still think, is like the pinnacle of Leica's capabilities, but Missing Link does a really good job with its animation. Like, not just from the characters, but like, good God, I actually watched a, how do I describe it, a visual effects breakdown of this movie, and there are so many scenes where I swear I thought I was looking at something stop motion, but no, there's a lot of CGI. There's a lot of CGI in this movie, really, and it's really hard to tell where the CGI begins and where the stop motion begins, because there's even scenes that you would swear wouldn't need CGI, but no, apparently they had it the entire time, you just didn't notice. So from that aspect, it was actually, like, that's actually very impressive. Because again, I don't know how to describe it. Like, even, like, you'll just have to see it for yourself, and after you see the movie, look up the the VFX breakdown of Missing Link, and you'll see why I think, like, whoa, why I think it's a very impressive animated achievement. Like, this movie does get a little bit, how I say, it does try to be a little bit emotional at times, and it's not really crying worthy, I don't think. I mean, you do care for what the characters are going through, but it's nothing like, say, something like Kubo and the Two Strings did, or Inside Out did, or something like that. It's a very simple kind of film with a good message, and it's a hilarious comedy at that. Like, really, this is where the movie really shines. It shines mainly with comedy and adventure. This isn't the deepest Laika film, but it doesn't need to be for it to be a very fun, very enjoyable animated film, and I definitely recommend seeing it, especially considering that Missing Link was probably the biggest box office bomb of the year, because the movie cost $100 million to make. Alright, it cost $100 million to make. It made $24.8 million at the box office. Meaning, it didn't even make a quarter of its budget. And that's just that's just the production budget. That's not including the marketing budget, or any of that. And the box office doesn't even include, the cut that the theaters get. No. This is a big box office disaster for Laika. And I think I think there are two factors when it comes to this. One, sadly, I don't think people like stop-motion animated movies. I don't know why. It's sort of like the whole 2D animation thing. Like, 2D animation these days is just dead. I mean, Disney's last 2D animated movie was Winnie the Pooh that came out in 2011, and that didn't do gangers at the box office. And, considering a lot of the Laika movies have been suffering as of recently, and considering Kubo and the Two Strings was a box office flop, and now you have Missing Link, which is probably one of the biggest animated flops of all time, this did not do well. This really did not do well at all, and that's a really big shame, because this is a really good movie. But, like I said, I think one reason for why this happened is because of stop-motion animation. Also, the trailers were just not good, and you gotta put out some really good marketing out there, or else no one's gonna go see your movie. And that is a big shame, and it really is, honestly. So if you have Hulu, check out Missing Link. Again, I don't know how long I don't know how long Laika's gonna be around after this, but yeah, whenever you get the chance, I'd check it out. It's a great adventure comedy and whatnot. Again, not the deepest movie ever, but it doesn't really need to be. It is just a very entertaining film in of itself.